Welcome back. And I'm so excited to kick off a brand new season here on the Kelly Roach Show. This is going to be the season of reinvention. And it's perfect timing for you to uplevel your business, your mindset, and your brand because we are nearing the end of 2024. We are getting ready to kick off an amazing 2025. And what I want to help you to do is to understand the power of reinvention, why it is essential to your business, and how to take action to learn how to embody the principles of the art and science of radical reinvention, which are going to give you a leading competitive edge in the market of today. So, first of all, let's kind of look at the bigger picture of what is reinvention and why does it matter for you? I started talking about reinvention back a couple of years ago, post pandemic, because what had happened was the world had changed, people had changed, the market had changed, literally everything had changed. And a lot of business owners were feeling this deep sense of uneasiness in their businesses. They felt disconnected from the business that they were running. They were frustrated and kind of feeling a lot of internal friction about what they were doing in their own businesses. And I remember just talking to business owner after business owner after business owner and seeing these same themes and trends over and over again. And what I realized at that time was that most entrepreneurs don't really understand how to integrate reinvention into their business on an ongoing basis to use it as the catalyst for preventing burnout and for keeping their brand fresh and staying at the forefront of what's happening in their market without feeling like they're constantly starting over. You know, I started to recognize that there were kind of two core mentalities in the online space. There were the people that panic pivot and are constantly changing and constantly restarting their business, quote unquote, burning things down and beginning again with something new and radically different. And then there was the category of people that they stayed focused. They understand their message, they understand their market and their offer, but their brand loses power and relevancy. And the things that were working for them are no longer working because they don't understand how to integrate reinvention effectively in their business. So understanding this concept will empower you in two ways. Number one, you're never going to feel like you have to burn it down or start over ever again. And number two, you are going to keep your brand relevant, timely, and fresh. You are always going to look and feel like you are on the competitive edge of what's happening in your space. And you're going to get the same benefits of quote unquote pivoting without going through the destructive nature of what happens every time you kind of rashly close a program or change the focus of your business or whatever the case. So reinvention is an unbelievably powerful tool that's going to make a massive difference for you in how you approach your strategy for 2025. So I'm really excited to dig into this. What I'll share is that I built out a 38-page guide on how to really crystallize high growth in your business, especially if you want to go from 7 or multiple 7 to 8 figures. But even if you're not at that level, this works as well. I created an entire guide on this. If you scroll down below this podcast or video that you're watching, you can opt in for the Reinvention Playbook, which is going to give you a whole host of strategies to up-level your business, refine your marketing, your messaging, your impact strategy, and get your business growing as fast as humanly possible. So make sure before the episode's over that you go ahead and grab your copy of the playbook. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what reinvention is going to do for you and your business and kind of how to think about it. The best way to think about it is when conditions change on the exterior, it is going to change what we need to do on the interior. The problem is that when you make decisions from the outside in versus the inside out, a lot of times it's the tail wagging the dog, meaning what is actually core and essential to the business is not being accomplished because you're putting a Band-Aid on being reactive to things that are happening in the outside versus really maintaining that clarity around the internal evolution and development of your product, your program, your services, keeping focused on your North Star and creating an alignment between your internal desire, belief, and evolution, and matching that with market demand, market need, and external circumstances. So a lot of times when people go through these kind of panic pivots or these very fast changes that kind of create whiplash for the market and don't really do what we want them to do, a lot of times that happens because they're seeing that what they were doing is no longer working. They're attempting to react or respond to that, but they're not creating alignment from the inside out. So all it does is just keep digging a hole and digging a hole. And actually, it many times makes the problem even worse. So the need for reinvention in a market like today is actually accelerated tenfold since when I started talking about this. So when I first started talking about the concept of reinvention a couple years ago, an emphasis on teaching about it and creating the playbook and building workshops and talking about it inside Kairos, when I first started having that conversation, I was saying, hey, you're probably every 2 to 5 years going to go through this major reinvention for your business and your brand. And you're almost going to treat these like mini careers within your career. Each one is just going to build and evolve based on what you did last and what you're going to do next. And what's radically changed in the time since I started talking about all of this is that the speed of change in the world and in the markets has accelerated so dramatically that my perspective has shifted. Initially, my perspective was, every 2 to 5 years, you're going to reinvent yourself. And if you do that, and that's kind of what my journey has been. And what I'm finding now is that with the speed of change, reinvention is something that you have to do far more frequently now than ever before, because the speed of change is so much quicker than it was before. And 2024 was a perfect exemplification of this principle, because people started off the year doing things in 2024 that were working perfectly well, that were, absolutely delivering results. And by the time they got to March, April of 2024, those things were no longer working. So I really want you to think about your own journey in business over the last 12 to 24 months and ask yourself, how frequently have you experienced major changes in the market that really required you to make strategic changes in the way that you're positioning your business? And, you probably felt that you were needing to make changes almost on a daily, weekly, monthly basis throughout the course of 2024. And obviously, with the speed of change, that's not going to change anytime soon. So this is why, as I was really thinking about the end of the year, the beginning of 2025, what topic did I really want to go deep into for our last season of the show and the beginning of the year, I chose reinvention because it has now gone from something that maybe you do once every few years to something that you absolutely have to develop mastery of as a leader in the online space in order to maintain relevancy and effectiveness online. And so I decided to take an even deeper look into this topic and to really center the theme of the podcast around this, because I saw and you saw what happened this year. And if you didn't reinvent yourself this year, you probably wouldn't be listening to this podcast right now, because many, many businesses went out of business this year. And we had one of the highest business closure rates in many, many years. And of course, a big part of that is the failure to evolve and adapt, period. Businesses go out of business when they fail to evolve and adapt. But you have to do this in an effective and meaningful way for it actually to work. And this is where I saw a big disconnect in the online space, because I see people attempting to reinvent themselves, but it's not reinvention. It's actually this whiplash effect of these very fast and rash decisions that they attempt to make to try and pull their audiences back in again. And it just doesn't position the brand well. So a couple things to think about is don't let the tail wag the dog, right? Major in the majors, minor in the minors. Know who you are, know what you want out of your business, and don't allow market conditions and market circumstances to get you to start making decisions that are actually not in alignment with who you are and what you want the business to be and the true North Star, the heart and soul of the brand. Because when we do those things, they already have a burnout effect. They already have a destination because, of course, you're not going to continue doing them because you were never really interested in them in the first place. You were just doing that because that's what you thought you had to do in order to garner attention in the market and to get your strategy working again. And my big message around the theme of reinvention is that you can stay aligned with your North Star. You can stay focused on the truth, the point of truth about what your brand is here to do and what your business is focused while still evolving and adapting to perform in the market of today. And once you go through this season on the podcast, I think that you will leave with a great understanding of the importance of reinvention, how to start using it in your business. And of course, with the playbook, which if you haven't already done that, go ahead and opt in for the Business Reinvention Playbook. You can scroll right down below this episode or video and go ahead and get your copy. And there's some other resources we'll provide to you on the back end of that once you get signed up for that. But that is going to give you a serious heavyweight tool that you can use and start doing the exercises, follow the recommendations, start taking action right away, and you're going to see results even before we get to the end of the year. So making that alignment is key in order to sustain performance in the business. And we want to prevent burnout. And burnout happens when you feel disconnected from what you're doing in the business. It doesn't truly align for you. And you're spending a lot of your time, energy, and effort on things that are not your zone of genius, which is what we do not want. Right? So let's talk about why reinvention is an absolute must if you want to grow in 2025. And let's think about some perspectives on what this might look like for you. And keep in mind that this is the first episode in an entire series. So we are not going to get to everything about implementation or any of those things on today's episode. This is the introduction, and we're going to teach this and we're going to go through this together. You are going to be ready to make a massive leap in your business. Okay. So first of all, adaptation. Okay. The market has changed. Buyer mentality has changed. Financial constrictions have changed. Internet marketing sophistication has changed. There are so many things that are impacting your business. The strategies that you used last year or the year before are no longer performing. I think we all know that at this point. And it's not that you need to throw the baby out with the bathwater and completely pick a new strategy. It's that you need to look at the nuance of the kind of fundamental shifts you have to make within that strategy to get it working again. And that's the first principle of reinvention that I would really share with you. So many times when people see that a strategy stops working, they stop using the strategy in its entirety. It's not the strategy that's no longer working. It's the nuance of application. Okay. And so great example, live launching, right? I get messages in my inbox. I get text messages. I get phone calls from my team every single day telling me this person came back. This person, this new coach or mentor convinced them to stop live launching and do this other thing instead. Now their business is basically back to ground zero. They're trying to rebuild from the ground up. You know, how can we help them to get things back on track? Because they threw the baby out with the bathwater. Instead of understanding the power of reinvention, understanding that live launch is always going to work. It works now. It worked yesterday. It's going to work tomorrow. The strategy works. The application of the nuance has shifted radically. And I've taught entire 9-day workshops specifically on that because there are dozens and dozens of little nuances that you have to understand in order for that same strategy that you implemented yesterday to work tomorrow. You have to understand the nuance. And this is the first role of becoming a truly self-led, God-inspired leader, which is that you have trust and you have faith in the strategy that you've selected. Okay, you pick proven and timeless strategies to implement in your business, and you know the difference between when you need to completely change strategies versus when you need to apply evolved nuance to what it is that you're doing. So the first reason why reinvention is absolutely essential, it's make or break in your business, is that your business has to adapt to the market of today all the time, all the time. It's never going to change. As the market changes, your business has to adapt. And businesses that don't adapt go out of business, right? So the first rule is you have to learn to read the room and to not do that in like a panicked or frantic way, but instead be curious. Be curious, be a great observer. This is one of the things that has helped me so much over the years to keep evolving and keep reinventing is just be an observer. Watch and listen. If you watch and listen, your market is going to tell you exactly what you need to know to sell to them in a way that is going to be effective in the now. Okay. The second one is you need to be able to maintain an edge in your market. You cannot maintain an edge if you're always chasing. If you're the last person to evolve, you're the last person to adapt, you're the last person that gets on top of altering your messaging, your marketing, your pricing structure, your program contents to match what people need today, it's going to be really, really hard for you to keep up. So to maintain an edge and to maintain relevancy, you have to show that you're able to read the room. And this is a double-edged sword because it's going to be why people are going to buy from you, but it's also going to be why people buy into you. People don't buy into brands that don't show that they get it, that aren't like relevant, that aren't talking about things and presenting concepts and ideas in a way that demonstrates thought leadership for the today. And this is why long form content also is so, so crucial, right? So maintaining an edge, keeping relevancy in the market, evolving. We talk about the skating to where the puck is going, right? Not where it's been. Brand authority. There is nothing that will have you lose authority faster than being in yesterday when everybody's already in tomorrow in terms of the problems, the wants, the needs of your audience. I'm not talking about, generally speaking, big, broad concepts or ideas. I'm talking about knowing what is happening right now, being obsessed with the operating reality of your customer, which is where I see business owners put far too little of their focus and attention. They're not in tune with their own market. And if you're not in tune with your own market, of course, you're not going to be marketing and selling and running your programs and positioning your brand in a way that's relevant for them because you don't even understand where they are from a mindset standpoint. Okay. Again, I want to emphasize that I put together an entire guide, 38 pages, that walk you through strategies, exercises, questions, actions, the whole thing to guide you through this process. And you're going to leave and you're going to have a better understanding of the concept of reinvention than probably 99% of people out there. So do it. Take advantage of this guide. It is a complete and total game changer, especially if you're listening to the show and you're someone that's high 6 or 7 figures that wants to go to 8. Brand authority, people are not going to take your brand seriously if you're just out of touch. That's it. You cannot be out of touch and have your brand be taken seriously. But also, reinvention is essential for scale. If you want to grow, you have to understand that what you did at the level that you were at is not going to work at the level to which you're going. And if you keep doing the same things over and over again that reinforce staying where you are, you're probably not going to see that leap to the next level that you're looking for. So if your goal is to scale, if you want to expand, then you have to look at reinventing your offers, your service delivery, your selling process in a way that allows you to serve one-to-many and acquire one-to-many at the next level beyond what you've been able to do up through today. Okay. Efficiency, cost savings. So many of you experience this year. You have to become more efficient. When it's harder and more expensive to acquire customers, which it absolutely is by a multiple of about 10, you have to become more efficient. You have to reinvent your perspective on productivity. You have to reinvent what you are getting done through whom with what resources. And you have to develop new efficiencies and do a pruning process to accomplish more with less. That's also a part of reinvention. So it's part of the expansion. It's part of the contraction. It supports you in the full life cycle of your business. Okay. Making sure that you have the right strategy match. I will say, I'll use the exact example of the virtual business school. The virtual business school is my 6th company. It had 0 recurring revenue coming into the year this year. In February, we launched the virtual business school membership. As of the time of this recording, we've had this membership for not even, I want to say maybe 9 months. And we have over 600 customers that have joined us this year in the virtual business school. And so much of that was right product, right mentality, right price point, right time. We worked so hard at refining and refining and refining the exact and precise angle, the price point, the marketing mentality, the angle, the topics that we were going to talk about. The virtual business school in and of itself is a very broad solution. There are thousands of ways that we could have approached all of those things, but using the idea of what we're talking about here with market adaptability, reinvention, understanding the operating reality of your customer. The reason why we were able to go from 0 to over 600 customers in less than a year was because it was an exact match, because we were obsessed with what the market wanted and needed. We were really in the operating reality of our customer, and we stayed 100% true to our North Star for the virtual business school. Our marketing and our product and pricing match was an exact and precise hit for the evolution of where things stand in the world today. And so that's a great example for you. Some of my other businesses that are still adapting or still going through that reinvention process didn't grow as fast this year. They'll grow faster next year, right? One of my businesses, we're actually going through the steps of reinvention literally as we speak, because where it was and how people were buying that product versus how they're buying it now, it's different. And so we have to realign our strategy. We can't just be like, oh, well, this is what we're doing and we're just going to, stick to it. And we're definitely not going to throw out the vision, the strategy, the North Star. What we are going to do is we're going to reinvent around the nuances of what we are seeing and learning through observation of people's behavior. Okay. So it's a constant process. Market conditions are a huge driver of reinvention. So you need to look at what the market conditions that you are experiencing in your space right now. And you need to adapt your product, your pricing, your program structure, your go-to-market strategy, and even your launch topic and your launch sessions to match what is happening in that particular market today. Okay. And of course, growth through disruption. There was a massive disruption this year. We all saw it. We all felt it. As I said already, it was 10 times more expensive and slower and harder to get customers this year than it was in other years. And so in order to grow through a period of disruption, you have to be adaptable. You have to be proactive. I want you to take action by going ahead and downloading the Reinvention Playbook now so that you can see definitive examples, specific guidance, action steps to take right away. And I want you to understand when you're done going through this playbook, and as we go through this series together, you're going to have a lot of clarity around, oh, that's why I was struggling so much with this. And that's why that wasn't working. And this is what I need to do instead of that, right? This is going to prevent burnout for you. This is going to help you make decisions in congruence and total alignment. And it's going to help you stay invested, aligned, and in love with your business and your brand. So thanks for tuning in today. Make sure you grab a copy of the Reinvention Playbook, and I can't wait to dig into next steps on the next episode. See you there.